I'm very pleased to be here, and I would like to request that that video get played before I speak everywhere I go. That would be just wonderful. I think that would work out very well. So I'm very pleased to be here on traditional Treaty 6 territory and to be the one bringing you greetings on behalf of our entire government caucus, so many of whom are here today. It's an honor to have an opportunity to speak to the members of the AFL and to join you at your 50th annual convention. And I'm especially honored to be here as Alberta's Minister of Labour. So let me start by just acknowledging all of you here in the room, all of the unions and dozens of affiliates who've come together for this convention, and of course your President, Gil McGowan, your Secretary-Treasurer, Siobhan Vipond, and all of the members. It's so wonderful to be here, and I'd like to personally thank each and every one of you for the incredible work you do to make Alberta better each and every day. While the Federation's origins go back as far as 1912, today you celebrate 50 years of working together to achieve common goals and further shared values. 50 years. 50 years of standing together in solidarity, 50 years of speaking up for workers, 50 years of pursuing positive social change in healthcare and education, 50 years of fighting to convince the provincial government to do more to help hardworking families, or nearly 50 years on that one. Friends, in 2015, Albertans chose a government that understands the importance for making life better for workers and their families. And since then, we've been focused on creating good jobs, diversifying our economy, and protecting the health and education services Albertans rely on. Albertans chose change, and we have worked hard to be that change and to show Albertans there's another way of governing, one that cuts the drama and ups the honesty, one that cares about regular families and the day-to-day problems they face, and one that puts hardworking Albertans first. Most recently, we've been looking at Alberta's laws, especially those pertinent to the workplace, to see what needs to be updated and where we can make meaningful, lasting change. Before I get to specifics on that front, I want to speak more generally on our approach to making life better for Albertans. It's no secret that our province has been facing tough economic times. And while some of the telltale signs of recovery are starting to emerge, such as the more than 20,000 full-time jobs created in Alberta last month, or increases in drilling activity, investments in the price of oil, we know there's still more to do to diversify our economy and create good jobs for Albertans. Families are still struggling, and we need to do more to help them to find work, to support themselves and their families. It's during these tough times that Albertans deserve a government that has their back. Some people think that the answer is to add to the troubles of regular Albertans by throwing more people out of work and gutting the public services that we all rely on. Instead of investing in people, some think it's better to stop building new schools, stop building hospitals, raise tuition, cut childcare, and lower that minimum wage. Instead of supporting workers, some would choose to erode their rights and slash their wages. We were elected to do things differently. And let me be very clear, our government will not respond to layoffs with more layoffs. We will not respond to economic hardship with cuts to the programs and services regular families need more than ever. An economic downturn is when workers need support the most, and they deserve a government that's on their side. They deserve a government that supports them, their families, and their communities. Friends, this is our Alberta. In Alberta, we're focused on strengthening our frontline services and supporting our hardworking people. We're focused on building our communities and helping our families. We're focused on growing our economy and diversifying our markets. To put it simply, we're focused on making your life better. Many Albertans might stop and wonder what took so long. What's the major difference between our priorities and the way Alberta was governed before? Well, it starts by having a government that actually has nurses and childcare workers and municipal workers and electricians and grocery store workers sitting on the benches of the House. Programmers aren't so bad. Yeah. Members of our caucus have been proud union members who recognize just how important Alberta's unions are for workers. So just as a little demonstration exercise, I'm going to ask you to stand if you are a member of one of these unions that our MLAs are a part of. IBEW. Yes. We have MLAs who have been proud to be part of USW. Yeah. PSAC. Oh, yeah. UUWA. Yeah. CUPE. ATU. UNA. UFCW. Unifor. HSAA. And we even have someone who is staff with the AFL, so everyone gets to stand up. Look around the room, it's fantastic. All right, you can sit down again. And for firefighters and postal workers who are in the room, I mean, 2019, we need some good candidates, so. I'm also very proud to be part of a government that's leading by example with so many smart, strong, influential women leaders. We have the highest percentage of female MLAs ever elected in Alberta, the first gender-balanced cabinet in Canadian history. And of course, the Status of Women ministry devoted to making life better for women. Our team reflects Alberta and our common values of hard work, respect, integrity, and basic human dignity. We're working to make life more affordable. The opposition, we know, is focused on their own internal issues right now. We're creating jobs. And when I'm sitting in the House, I get to listen to them talk Alberta down. We're protecting healthcare and education, and they are promising reckless cuts that will hurt our hospitals and schools. And that's the clear difference between us and them. We're working to make life better, and they want to make life harder. As the Minister of Labour, I'm focused particularly on making life better for hardworking Albertans. And one of the ways we are doing that is that aforementioned review of the province's workplace legislation. This is legislation that touches the lives of almost every Albertan. After all, everyone either works for a living or likely depends on someone who works for a living. This makes it imperative that our legislation is fair, up to date, and in line with other jurisdictions in Canada. And currently, that's just not the case. Our workplace legislation is out of date. Since they were enacted nearly 30 years ago, the Employment Standards Code and the Labour Relations Code have not undergone significant updates. The former government did do review after review and still did not lift a finger to ensure our laws reflect today's workers and today's workplaces. Legislation that touches the lives of so many Albertans should not and cannot be disregarded this way. Think about how much your workplaces, and indeed our world, has changed over the last 3 decades. Technology, family dynamics, expectations around finding proper work-life balance. These all look drastically different now than in the 1980s. And because Alberta has not modernized these laws, we have fallen behind the times. and behind what other workers experience in most Canadian jurisdictions. As a result, we have one of the longest qualification periods in Canada for job-protected leaves, including maternity and parental leave. We are one of the few provinces that does not guarantee employees who are absent due to sickness or injury will not lose their jobs. And we have among the shortest compassionate care leaves in the country. Workers deserve better. All Albertans deserve better. We all deserve modern, family-friendly workplaces where you are treated fairly. And that's why we asked Albertans to weigh in on laws that cover topics such as hours of work, overtime, general holidays, special leaves, and collective bargaining. We believe addressing and modernizing Alberta's stance on these issues will not only empower you to look after your personal responsibilities, it will also set the stage for Alberta businesses to attract and retain the best and brightest employees, helping to grow and drive our economy. Of particular interest to the room today will be the Labour Relations Code portion of our review. The purpose of this review is to examine the code's fairness, balance, and effectiveness. And I really want to say thank you to everyone in this room who made time to contribute to a submission directly or perhaps through the organizations that you were a part of, or took time to fill out the survey that was online. We are currently reviewing the feedback we've received, and I will have more to say on the next steps in the next few weeks. We know we can't stop there either. In the case of occupational health and safety, I am anticipating a broad review of not just the legislation, but of overall process and practices as well. Health and safety has also evolved over the last few decades, and we need to address important issues such as mental health and workplace harassment. I ask for your patience on that front as we move forward, and I promise I will have more to say in the near future. Our workplace legislation is made up of 4 foundational pieces: occupational health and safety, labor relations code, employment standards, and the Workers' Compensation Board review. That review I launched last year, and it was part of our commitment to review government agencies, boards, and commissions. It's being conducted as a review of the WCB system as a whole. Our aim is to ensure the system continues to provide fair compensation and meaningful rehabilitation while remaining sustainable and affordable. The last comprehensive review of the Workers' Compensation Board was more than 15 years ago. So like our workplace legislation review, it was long overdue. Stakeholder sessions concluded this past January, and I eagerly await the final report, which is due to me this spring. These recommendations in the report will lay out the groundwork for ensuring workers receive the medical and financial benefits they need to get back on the job, something that benefits both workers and employers alike. And one other area of workplace legislation I would like to touch on is when we were looking at ways to improve labor legislation on Alberta's farms and ranches. We know farming and ranching is more than a job in Alberta, it's a way of life, and we're committed to working closely with the agriculture community to ensure our legislation respects the unique qualities of farms and ranches while giving those workers the same rights and protections as other Canadians. In March, I was really pleased to move this matter forward by sharing the recommendations we received from the technical working groups. Since May of last year, these groups have been developing recommendations on how employment standards, labor relations, and the occupational health and safety requirements could be applied to meet the distinct needs of the agriculture industry. As promised, we look to Albertans to provide their feedback, and that process has recently wrapped up. So I'd like to again thank everyone here who may have contributed and let you know that your input will certainly help as we move forward on our goal of providing employees with protections in line with the protections enjoyed by workers in other sectors. I'm pleased to report to you today that we are already making progress in that area. Since agricultural work sites were brought into the existing labor legislation at the start of 2016, over 1,800 farms and ranch employers have opened accounts with WCB. You all know what that means. 1,800 locations where waged, non-family farm workers now enjoy the same protections as their fellow Albertans, the protections they always deserved. And protecting workers is a top priority for our government. Every worker has the right to come home safely at the end of the day, from the very first shift right until their retirement. But tragically, that sometimes does not happen. In 2016, there were more than 23,000 lost time injury claims, and 144 people did not make it home due to workplace illness or injury. Tomorrow, on the National Day of Mourning, we think about those 144 workers we lost. These 144 workers, not just statistics, but somebody's grandparent, parent, sibling, spouse, child, or friend. They touch so many lives in so many ways. I believe employers, workers, and government all have a responsibility to create healthier, safer workplaces and a better world. And I want to assure you that your government takes this responsibility seriously. This year's Day of Mourning also marks the 25th anniversary of the Westray mine disaster in Nova Scotia, which killed 26 workers. As you know, that incident prompted the federal government to amend the criminal code so that criminal charges may be laid in serious cases of workplace injuries and fatalities. Our government understands that without proper enforcement of the Westray amendments, we cannot seek justice for workers and their families in cases that warrant criminal charges. While I can't say more today, I want to assure you that I will have more to say on this issue very soon. Because workers in Alberta have already waited too long for us to take action on this. And speaking of taking action, in partnership with the federal government, we also just announced a new pilot project that will help job-seeking Albertans find new opportunities as economic recovery continues. The Employer Liaison Service will help employers who are looking to fill highly skilled positions connect with Albertans ready and available to work. These include machinists, welders, plumbers, carpenters, engineers, heavy-duty equipment mechanics, etc. It will ensure that these positions are not filled by foreign workers. We have an exceptional pool of talented, well-trained, and motivated workers in Alberta, and they should be first in line for available jobs. This 2-year pilot project will also help connect employers to workers in underrepresented groups such as Indigenous peoples, new immigrants, youth, and people with disabilities. This pilot is going to provide valuable insight to help us develop strategies to respond to labor challenges across various sectors and regions in Alberta, and the federal government is paying close attention to the pilot. We are also continuing with our plan to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2018. All hardworking Albertans deserve enough to support themselves and their families. This government will make life more affordable for these workers. Minimum wage earners are not, as some critics have said, just teenagers taking short-term jobs to make a little spending money while they live at home. The majority are women, and 3/4 are 20 years old or older. Over 75% of them have permanent jobs, and 2/3 have been at that same job for more than a year. Over 100,000 are working parents. So we're not talking about teenagers making pocket money. Most of these Albertans are adults. Many of them have children. These are friends and neighbors, and all of them deserve better. Alberta families have waited for positive, progressive change for decades, and our government has responded with vigor. We reversed cuts to healthcare, education, and children's support services to ensure stable, predictable funding for our hardworking frontline staff. Frontline staff, absolutely. We introduced the Alberta Child Benefit Program and expanded the Family Employment Tax Credit to help 200,000 families afford the essentials, like making sure they can put food on the table for their kids. We are expanding $25 a day daycare so families can go to work and contribute to our economy and make sure their children can grow and thrive. We're strengthening our public education system by hiring more teachers, more teacher assistants, more support staff, improving the curriculum, cutting school fees, and ensuring kids have a hot, nutritious lunch during the school day. We're investing in skills training, and we restored the summer temporary employment program to help students gain meaningful work experience. We're building new hospitals across the province, like the Calgary Cancer Centre and a new hospital here in Edmonton, while investing in necessary upgrades such as the modernization of the Misericordia Hospital in Edmonton. We're opening 550 new public long-term care beds, including a specialty wing for complex care patients with Alzheimer's and dementia in Calgary, and an expansion of the Norwood Capital Care Facility in Edmonton. We're building new public affordable housing units like the Londonderry redevelopment in Edmonton and the Elbow Valley development in Calgary, and I saw on Twitter Minister Sigurdsson was just opening another one today. We're diversifying our economy by investing in exciting opportunities in areas like petrochemicals and craft beer. We've reduced the small business tax, increased funding for entrepreneurs, and provided other new investment and tax credits to strengthen Alberta's small business community. And we're protecting consumers by banning pushy door-to-door energy sales and placing a cap on electricity prices. And we've worked very hard to make sure elections are about ordinary people and not big money, big donors, and special interest groups. In short, we are putting Albertans first. So I would really like to extend my sincere thanks to the AFL for your support, for inviting me to speak here today, for the work you do for Alberta workers, for that awesome video that we saw earlier. You should all be incredibly proud of the work that you do and of the incredible organization that you belong to. It's been an honor to speak with you and provide an update on the work of our government. Alberta's unions are an integral part of the fabric of this province, so we need your help to continue making the progressive change Albertans voted for in 2015. Your ideas are always welcome. Your concerns are always taken to heart. I look forward to continuing to collaborate with you on many issues and opportunities that lie ahead of us in this great province, and you can count on our government to keep working to make life better, to create jobs, to protect the things working people count on. This is our time, and by working together, we can truly make life better. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference.